I'll tell you what it was like before doing athletics. It was like your body was this thing that got your soul and your brain around to whatever was engaging your soul and your spirit and your brain. And when I started actually doing climbing, I was using this tool that I ride around in, my body, to do something really fun and interesting in itself. Solving a puzzle on the fly while you're on the wall, solving a puzzle with your mind, using your body. And before that, my body was just something that got me around so I could make art and read books and do things with my brain. Before climbing, it's hard for people to believe who knew me before. I was a homemaker. I was home with really little kids all day, and I was completely sedentary until I was over 40. I was an artist, and I wasn't into any kind of sport or outdoor activity. I liked the outdoors. I would take a walk, but that was about it. For my 40th birthday, I decided to go on a woman's adventure trip. So I went on a backpacking trip in the Grand Canyon, and I met a person that I enjoyed a couple more years of backpacking with. And then she got into climbing, and she said, "I know you'd love climbing, you should climb." This friend came down from Minneapolis. It was one of the last days of the climbing season at Devil's Lake. She took me on as many climbs as we could fit in a day on this beautiful purple and pink rock, and just climbing up and being with a really good friend. It was just so fun. I just knew I liked it. I like moving on the rock. I like the way the rock feels and looks, and I knew I had to figure out how to do this. And it's a full body activity, so my whole body was changing. I remember when my friends told my husband, "Annie's getting really buff." I didn't even know what the word buff meant. And so you're moving in all dimensions. Every climb is different. It's not repetitive motion, so your whole body gets stronger. That's the key, is to find something you enjoy enough that you would do it regularly and that you even enjoy it as you develop skills in it. In retrospect, I realized pretty quickly that I wasn't ever counting reps. It's just fun. It's fun to use your body on a structure. I mean, that's why you look at a playground and you don't see very many kids just sitting over there never touching the stuff. To most kids, they see a thing and they want to explore it, and then we somehow lose that. We have such ageism in our society that they're always like, "Oh God, by the time I'm 40, I'll be too old to do this," And a lot of these sports you're not. So I wanted people to see people like me doing that. I like to represent that women in their 40s or later, women in their 50s can do this stuff. As a girl, everything was unfair. Title IX, which leveled the playing field for women and men, was after I graduated from college. So if there was a women's swim team or a women's volleyball team, they had none of the same things the men had. There was nothing to encourage you to go into sports. People of my generation were adults before we got a fair chance at stuff. In 2008, I started with a personal trainer, and I've been with him ever since, 10 years, and he has gotten me not only into sports I never dreamed of, but to the world championships in a couple of sports. We went to the personal trainer to improve our climbing and our strength, and part of his training is just general physical health, so you need to be on some endurance machines. So you're on these rowing machines, and he noticed I was good at rowing, which is a power sport. So he said, you should be in a power sport. And did you know you could compete on these rowing machines? I think you could get on the podium, and I'm sure you could get to Worlds because you have natural power and I can train you for this. In my 60s, I was competing against women not only who'd been on star rowing teams, but Olympians who were stars in their country since they were 18 or 20. And I was competing against them, and that was really fun. You go until you think your lungs are gonna burst, for a short time, but as intense as anything. I did it 5 years, and I got to the Worlds the last 3 years, and showed me something I could do that I never dreamed I could perform at that high a level. The record that I set was 4 minutes and a couple seconds. That was actually on a ski machine. This is 1,000 meters, so it's less than 8 minutes. It's more like 4 minutes, and I think it's held, whatever it is, 5 years or something. And then the same trainer who noticed I was good at that also knew I was a good cyclist. And since the Ironman here in Madison, Wisconsin has had the venue for 15 years or something. It's a big deal here, and he thought that I would shine in it at my age group. And he said, I know what kind of cyclist you are, and that's a huge part of it. You and I could get you to Worlds. And I said, okay. I competed against 8 women, and I came in second actually, and the first place person did not take the slot in Kona, so I got to go to the Worlds the next year. And there were 37, 38 women my age who'd won their age group somewhere in the world, so like that's a serious field that was really fun for me, to be with women like me, trained as hard as me, and see what I could do. I just had learned from my trainer how to perform at a high level and dig even deeper. I learned mental toughness, and that was actually one of the benefits in climbing, because all day long, whether it takes you 13 hours or 17 hours to complete that Ironman, your mind is often telling you this is hard, or slow down a little, or you're probably not going to make it. You can just say, be quiet, I'm busy, and I'm going to finish this, and then finish it, and you realize how much deeper you can go. But I wonder if any of it would have happened if I hadn't climbed, because without mentors in climbing and then the trainers, coaches I had in these other sports, I wouldn't have known how far I could go. And they can really take you far if you can find those people. That climbing gym is uniquely suited to that, because you're there taking turns, and then you're resting for a minute before the next person takes a turn. So you might have somebody climbing what's considered a very hard climb. Right next to it is a very easy climb, and it wouldn't really matter because we're going to take turns anyway. It's very social because it's a turn-taking type sport. It mixes it up a lot more than other sports, where you are segregated by your ability level. So it's pretty unique that way. It's a social community, so it meant so much to me to learn from other people, to form a whole bunch of new friendships. It was a new world for the stay-at-home mom.